Alright, hey guys, and welcome to my review of Ghostbusters Afterlife. Now, this was a very, I didn't really think that this movie would be that impressive, and I was like holding back. Should I watch it? Should I not watch it? But then I looked at the cast, and I actually saw, we have Carrie Coon, Paul Rudd, and most importantly, McKenna Grace, who was an outstanding actress in this film. I have to hand it to that kid. Whatever her parents is feeding her, like keep doing that because she is growing up to be a brilliant actress and very charismatic, very intelligent, very much capable of handling the spotlight on her own, and she definitely sort of outshines every other actor and actress in this entire film. And I think it's a brilliant performance from the kid. And wow, that is it's superb. I never in my life would dream of even being close to capable of that. Yeah, and it's absolutely such an amazing performance by McKenna Grace. Wow, what an actress. Holy crap. I'm not kidding. I'm really not kidding. Like for a film like Ghostbuster Afterlife, right? Where you have a subpar script. Let me be honest. Script is subpar. Graphics are subpar. Music is great. Okay. Music is okay. Not that impressive. I really wanted the Ghostbusters theme. I only got in the end. I'm not happy. I mean, you have the greatest, one of the greatest, most iconic themes in the world. You title your film Ghostbusters, and you don't give us the theme. You don't even give us a modified version of it. I absolutely hate that. Uh, and Finn Wolfhard, who I know from a lot of other series, especially Stranger Things. Great actor, great kid. Definitely has a bright future. But man, McKenna Grace nailed it. Like she was something else, right? And I really want to see her in more, like being used in more films. There's so much potential out there, and the best part is, on top of her being the lead character in this story, being a young girl, being capable, being intelligent. She's sort of a Mary Sue at certain parts, but not entirely, because you can see her struggle. You can see her learning things over time. And the only reason she's a Mary Sue is because her IQ is so high and she knows everything as a kid, right? Because she's a kid that just is a know-it-all. She really knows things. But on top of that, you can see her struggle with the fact that she just has so much intelligence, and she finds it difficult to deliver that because she's a kid. And things don't go her way just because she's intelligent. She still has to struggle. And that's what, differentiates a regular Mary Sue from someone who is actually intelligent but struggles to find their place. And I think that sort of separation of, that fine line is what made me like the character Phoebe, and she's sort of the granddaughter of the Ghostbuster. Where is he? Not Venkman. No. Oh, it's actually not here. The Ghost Farmer. Why do they call him that? I think it's Egon Spangler, but I can't see it here. But yeah, anyway, she's the granddaughter of Egon Spangler, one of the four Ghostbusters, and she's brilliant. She's a genius and whatever. And in this film, the story is basically about this family who is led by Carrie Coon, Callie, Phoebe, and Trevor. So they are like brother and sister, and they go to a town where their grandfather used to be, and the grandfather actually dies in what is a ghost attack, and so they actually decide to go and stay in the house, but they don't know about the grandfather's ghost attack, and the mother doesn't really. I think she sort of just rejects the grandfather for some reason, and she hasn't told her kids that the grandfather is actually Egon Spangler, and she only goes there because she wants to claim the grandfather's old house and try to sell it off to earn some money because their family is in shambles and their asset management is really bad and they just broke. Basically, they broke. And when they go to the new town, they try to live a short life there because they realize that or they try to carry on their life there because they realize that they lost the house in their town, and the grandfather's house is all that left, and there's not really much to sell it, and there's actually a huge debt left by the grandfather, and so they just decide to live in the town like Smallville style, and they go to school. And Trevor has his own like growing up issues and whatever. Whereas Phoebe goes to a class where Mr. Gruberson, acted by Paul Rudd, who just never seems to age at all, ever in any film, is playing a what do you call it, geophysicist or something like that. He's actually a science teacher, but in reality, he's some sort of a geophysicist, and he's actually trying to measure certain earthquakes that are constantly occurring in the town, and believes that those are not ordinary earthquakes, and there's something else behind it. And we do get a pretty interesting story going on. The fear factor is not really there. There were certain scenes that were really kind of cool and scary. I wish they took the fear part a little bit up the notch, because this is PG-13, right? This is not you. So if it's PG-13, I think they could have made it a little bit scarier. They don't really have to hold back on that part. Um, and they could have made it a little more teen-esque, because you have a bunch of teens, you have a bunch of adult jokes and whatever thrown here and there, but they could have made the movie a little more serious and the stakes a little higher. But they just trying to make it too much comedy, I felt, which is fine. But I mean, it's Ghostbusters, it's not Ghost and Friends or Casper the Friendly Ghost. They could have just taken it up a notch, but whatever. I think it was great. It was super fun. There was a lot of cool scenes, cool moments. The main script and storyline itself is just meh, super predictable, whatever. You know exactly what's going to happen. Everyone's just going to come to the end and just blast the ghost or whatever. And obviously Phoebe is going to be like the limelight, the character that pulls through and figure things out, and everyone else is just stupid around her because she's just too intelligent for them. And I felt that was the part that I really didn't like. The fact that one character just overshadows everyone else, despite the fact that everyone else is built up to some point. Like, she has this good friend called Podcast, and he helps her sort of like control this car and whatever to fight the ghosts and those sorts of moments. But you don't really see his defining moment that tells you why Podcast is Podcast, what makes him special. And Trevor doesn't really get any moments either. What makes him special also doesn't show up. Callie as the mom is just sort of given, like, sort of like created to be a sort of spectator in this, where she does end up involved in the action as a victim, and so does Mr. Gruberson, but you don't really see them coming back to fight together as a team, or coming up with their own solutions or their own ideas or any form of identity for themselves. They don't really have that. A lot of the limelight altogether is collected by Phoebe, who shines single-handedly and is able to carry that position, because McKenna Grace is such a great actress. But at the same time, I felt that too much responsibility was given to one character, too much focus to one character, that every other character just felt like a side character. And I think that that should not have been the case, especially not in a Ghostbusters film, because Ghostbusters is not about a single character. It's about four characters. The original Ghostbusters is about four main characters, and I felt that when I saw these four, all right, fine, maybe they're sort of like the parents and children family of four Ghostbusters, but they didn't really bring it to that. They didn't really give us that. They sort of had like Podcast and Phoebe being the real Ghostbusters, Trevor sort of just doing certain things and not really doing it well. Gruberson and Callie just getting into trouble, and everyone else is just showing up when they need to. Lucky is sort of the girl that Trevor falls in love with, but she just is not very helpful in any way. Peter Venkman returns, Bill Murray returns to, as Peter Venkman, as a Ghostbuster towards the very end. They have very small roles. None of the original cast have any major role in the story whatsoever. J.K. Simmons also has a very minor role. Actually, nothing really that impressive. I think the only ones were to focus on is just these six characters, and too much of the script was given to Phoebe. Yeah, so that's my main complaints of the story. Graphics wise, it's not that great. Music wise, once again, music is okay, but I'm really disappointed we didn't get the theme. We didn't even get a better version of the theme or anything like that. Scary parts are not really scary. No point calling it Ghostbusters. But there were certain moments that are pretty cool. Certain moments that the ghosts are really creepy. But the ghosts are very generic. It feels like just a bunch of what do you call these gargoyle-like creatures that are just going around attacking people. It's not really too much variety to it. And Mr. Gruberson, who was involved very early on to try to figure out the ghost trap, doesn't really get involved towards the end to try to actually catch the ghosts. I feel that they could have used some of these people a little better, distributed the dialogues a little better. The jokes are okay. A lot of this film relies on joke. As you can see, it's comedy fantasy. I think that the jokes are okay. It's not that bad, but it just doesn't have that impact because you don't have the characters to deliver them in the right places in the right time. and there was certain parts that were pretty intelligent and interesting, especially the part where they go around trying to fire the photon cannons and hit the ghosts. I think there were certain scenes that looked really graphically pretty awesome and pretty amazing. So I like that. I felt the impact and the weight and these sorts of things when they actually went around firing the photon cannon. But I wish we had that impact in a lot of the other scenes. Like there's this amazing scene where they drive the ghost like the wagon, right, the Ghostbusters car through this like cornfield, and I wish they give a little more impact and emphasis to that scene because of how amazing it is. And they didn't really show the tech or gadgets inside it. There was only one cool little thing, which is where the seat can pop out and you get like this you the seat basically comes out of the door and you get like this place where you can sit down and shoot your gun, right? I'm not sure what you call it, like a gun mount chair or something like that. I'm sorry, my terminology, but yeah, that's the only cool thing. Other than that, everything else is like we've seen this before. Yeah, this is from Ghostbusters. Okay, these are references. Yeah, and references are another thing. You get to see a lot of sort of like what do you call this, like a throwback to the 80s in a lot of the parts and whatever, and 90s as well. I'm from the 90s, so for me that's a little bit more relevant. So yeah, anyway, overall I think Ghostbusters was a decent film, not one that will be remembered I think, but I think it had a lot of potential. To be fair, I'm going to rate this film really low, and I mean it's not a good movie, guys. Trust me, it's not a good movie, but it's super fun, and I think probably kids might enjoy it. I think, but I'm just worried it'll be forgotten because it just doesn't stand out compared to a lot of other films, and I think that even kids have pretty good movies to watch these days. And yeah, but one thing I have to hand it is I can honestly give this film a 4 out of 10 just because of Grace's acting, because she was just so good. Super charismatic, delivering her dialogues really well, playing the role of Phoebe, which is this nerdy scientist kid that tries to fit into this big world and whatever. And Finn Wolfhard was also super funny in his moments, but being siblings and all, he just wasn't given a reasonable or balanced role because he's a great actor. I think they should have given him a lot more challenging things to do, a lot more cool scenes, climbing around, hanging, fighting, running. They never had those sorts of moments. It was just mostly them in a car just being driven around, that sort of thing. And even when the monsters attack them in the store, I thought, okay, this is a cool thing. They're being attacked in a grocery store. I'm sure they can use the things around in the store to fight back. Nope, none of that happens. None of that happens. There's just no real intelligent moment to be remembered. I think overall the best moments that I actually remember for the film is just them shooting the gun when they're going in the car, and probably the final scene when all the Ghostbusters come together and Egon Spengler's ghost comes back to help Phoebe defeat the final villain. And I think that's about it. So yeah, anyway, that's it from me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.